Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahe Tejasvi Navaditamastu Ma Vitvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Welcome to our second class, Embracing the Sacred Portal. This class has two modules with two different videos. The first one is going to be dedicated to Grandmother Moon. Before we begin, we want to start grounding our energies. As we enter the space of learning and receiving with an open heart, with an open womb, take a moment to acknowledge the space around you, the land you inhabit, the ancestors of the land you live in, those who may have been driven away by systems of oppression or colonization a long time ago. Take a moment to acknowledge your own ancestors, your maternal line, your abuelas. Take a moment to sit and receive their medicine. Welcome those well-seated ancestors to this space of ritual. A way to prepare to learn something is also acknowledging the depth of the healing and teachings and our own capacity to digest and integrate those teachings for your own benefit so that it will ripple and benefit all beings. Start sensing how your body is feeling today. If you started the practices recommended this week, take a moment to let whatever came forward permeate this moment without being afraid of any strong emotions or feelings. Placing your right hand on your heart and your left hand on your womb, or hovering over if you are uncomfortable with touch. What did you bring here today? Shift your attention to your pelvic area, sending a strong line of connection from your sacred portal down into the earth. Bring your attention to a rooted, embodied place, clearing your personal space of any negativity or interfering energy. And from this place of feeling rooted in your body, resourced, clear, protected, connected with your heart, with your womb, we begin our second class. The womb is a sacred and powerful place in the female anatomy. As we discussed on the first class, is the source of potential life, is the place to birth your deepest and most aligned creations, and is also a place that for many women monthly sheds its lining, creating anything from mild discomfort to excruciating pain. We live in a world that exists within a Western medical system or worldview, right? Which is very comfortable, normalizing women's pain and suffering. You may think it's normal to feel like your womb is a source of discomfort, or it always has been. Like we've been at war with our wombs since our first blood. It's in fact a place where conditions like endometriosis or polycystic ovarian syndrome can wreak havoc on our whole systems. Yes, it's a place of miscarriage, of abortion, of child loss, or childbirth. But we have allowed the normalization of pain and suffering and trauma around the womb. I want you to tell me if you have been told that the pain and cramping and moodiness and array of painful symptoms coming from your womb are normal, right? Or just part of being a woman. Maybe you've been told that these symptoms don't matter. Yeah, welcome to the curse of having a womb. So let's get something straight. Just because these symptoms are common, yes, that doesn't mean they're normal. In fact, when something is off in our bodies, there's a sign that something is wrong with the womb. If there's something wrong with our womb, there's something wrong with the body. The womb is your best friend. It will pull you aside. It will let you know something's not right. It sends you messages, painful moon cycles, irregularity, and the like. The fact that you are already here today means that you're already creating a relationship with your womb. And listening to our bodies is the first medicine. So many of us don't think too much about our womb until something happens there, right? Or doesn't happen. If we are waiting for a late period to arrive or not arrive anymore, some women don't have physical wombs, but instead a space that may felt energetically or imaginatively as such. And whether you have a good, bad, complex, neutral relationship with this part of your body, how often do you think about it? How often have you thought about it? In one famous story from the Puranas, Puranas are a vast genre of Hindu literature about an array of topics, particularly myths and legends. And so it's an important part of India's myth, right? And there's one that tells the story, and this is just a tiny part of the great story of Lord Shiva. There's so many stories about Shiva. Shiva, the Lord of destruction and transformation, right? And the loss of his great first love, Sati. So Sati has died. She had set herself on fire to call on the injustice of his father. And so Shiva is destroyed, distraught. And so he carries Sati's dead body across the skies, grieving desperately. He wails, threatening to throw the universe out of balance. And so in order to restore that balance, Vishnu, the sustainer of life, uses a special disc, a special weapon, to cut Shiva's wife's body into pieces, Sati's body cut into pieces, and allow them to fall in very different places across India. These geographical places are sacred places of worship in India, places of to worship the divine feminine. So instead of Shiva going back to work, he retreats to his meditation cave and refuses to come out. So that means that he is not doing the vital work of destroying things so that new things can be born. And so new demons come to power in the world of the gods and everything becomes a mess. So Shiva must be convinced or forced out of his grief and meditation and back into relationship with the world again so that he can continue to cause appropriate endings so that new beginnings can be possible, right? In the Western worldview, the narrative is very different. It's more like linear, right? We have one continuous life here on earth, and then if we're good, we get to maybe go to heaven. But in the Hindu perspective, worlds are constantly, necessarily ending in order for new worlds to be born. Death and destruction are necessary. They're life-giving to a level, right? Because while one thing remains, the next thing cannot be born. And so this is when we go back to the incredible magic of the womb. Menstruation is a sort of monthly death, right? The lining of the uterus grows to support a baby. That's the agenda. If a baby should be conceived. But when it's not, then that lining needs to be shed, released, destroyed, gone. And that is to create the possibility of a new cycle beginning again. And this is a good thing. Some people believe this monthly shedding is an important way to detoxify our systems. Yes, it is. And this might be a reason why, as women, we live much longer, because we're constantly cleaning ourselves. Energetically, our wombs can also help us shed toxins, emotional toxins once a month, right? Many times after a breakup or after a painful experience in my life, I've waited for my blood to come to help me release that experience from my body. Our wombs gather experiences over the course of a cycle and then go through a sacred process of releasing those experiences and letting go. One of my mentors Carmen Vicente. She's a curandera from an indigenous community in Ecuador. And she teaches us that each menstrual cycle is a mini retreat, or she said it's a parto. It's like a giving birth again. And so I will explain to that about that later. And it doesn't matter if you don't menstruate anymore. This is the time of the moon cycle where we need to clean our systems in one way or another. We are ruled by the moon, her cycles reflecting and mirroring our own inner landscape. And that is the topic of our first lesson, the moon. The celestial bodies have captured our imagination, mine so much that I invested 3 years of my life studying Vedic astrology, and I'll probably be forever a student of astrology. So the planets and the sun and the moon, the roof of the world, inspiring myths and legends and stories, and among these entities, the moon stands out as a symbol of mystery, of change, of magic, of the sacred feminine. Across the ages and civilizations, moon's connection to women has been an intriguing and profound aspect of human history. Now it's scientifically proven. So in this journey, we'll delve into how the moon's presence is intertwined with the essence of womanhood. So now, the benefits of embracing lunar cycles. Why would you start now? Not only a relationship with your womb, but also a relationship with the moon. And this it's just so important, and it's my absolute recommendation to you to start creating that relationship, because this awareness of tracking your menstrual cycles alongside lunar phases can really help you better understand your body, and it brings awareness, self-esteem, self-care. Being in synchronicity with nature, that's Ayurveda 101, right? Embracing lunar cycles helps you reconnect your woman's essence with nature's rhythms, and that promotes balance, harmony. It's another incredible way also to set intentions and manifestation for those manifestors out there. Following the moon cycle can be a very powerful tool to work on your intentions, to visualizing your goals, and to manifesting changes. Another super important part of why we want to observe where the moon is at in the sky is because of rest and renewal. Honoring the new phase of the moon encourages rest, introspection, quiet time. This is our time by nature, the women's time of renewal, rejuvenation. This is the witching part of the month. Meditating, if you're a meditator, according to the moon phases, really provides a very unique framework for mindfulness. So just as the moon waxes and wanes, as women, we are experiencing also a rhythm ebb and flow within our bodies. And it's such an exquisite parallel between lunar phases and menstrual cycles. It really adds another layer of depth to the timeless connection that we have with the moon, con la luna. So here we go. Four phases in the moon and in the body, right? We're going to start with a new moon. Quickly, we'll do a recap. Menstruation, new moon, rest, reflect, set intentions. Follicular time, the waxing moon, begin to take action, initiate, create projects. We come to ovulation, full moon, hopefully. Now you're present, you're in front of people, collaborate, shine, fertility. And then you come to the luteal time, which is the waning moon. Now you finish tasks, stay focused, finish projects because you're going to start bleeding very soon. So we'll start with the beginning of the cycle, and I will take our time. And you can take notes or you can go back, but this is very juicy information. The new moon, we're going to call it the seeds of renewal. During the night of the dark moon, this is when there is no moon in the sky. That's why we call it the new moon, dark sky. This is when us women, we go into the inner winter. It's a period, 3 to 7 days, when we are highly encouraged to look within and practice introspection. And this is ideally our bleeding time. Estrogen and progesterone drop. So we need to lay on the earth and rest. We are earth creatures now. Deep rest. We go into a cave. It is believed that our energy, as is in relationship to the moon, is at the lowest point, right? The moon is gone. We need to be gone too. Shh, quiet. We need to safeguard our energy. We need to be in quietude, in rest, in solitude if possible, and inward reflection. This is the time of, ideally, of menstruation. Ideally, this is when we bleed. So we want to take advantage of this sacred time because it's a time of natural purification, of meditation. We want to refrain from intense activities. We don't want to be going out and doing cartwheels at the beach, go surfing, trekking, presenting PowerPoint presentations to the company, signing contracts, going dancing and partying. This is deep time of rest, and we have to honor that, of retreat. And yes, we live in modern times that demand that many of us turn our back into this beautiful process. It's interesting that the very thing that makes a woman sacred is culturally viewed as an inconvenience. We are programmed to see this as an inconvenience. And this has made many young women ashamed, even disgusted by their natural bodily processes. And it has left a wake of confusion regarding the emotional rhythms that we experience every month, and we wonder what's wrong with me. Every month, we have this incredible opportunity to shed emotions, toxins, blocks, everything that is no longer in need for us. The body takes care, cleanses and rejuvenates during our menses, during the period of the dark moon. And when we don't take advantage of this time, and now I want you to pay attention and start observing the cycles, we really threaten the Shakti, the prana that exists inside of us. We disturb our energetic levels. We step out of sync with the natural world. And it's always wise to let nature guide us. So this is a time where the water element is more present. Unearthing feelings, emotions, wisdom, a lot of wisdom. Men are scared of women bleeding, no? Women bleeding is full of power. That's why indigenous women from communities in most parts of South America and North America, and this is what I know, but I know in Africa is the same, always knew that this is important time. So they used to retreat in groups to bleed together and just be, talk, gossip, sing, maybe do art, embroider. And they would be taken care of by the rest of the community. Nothing was asked of them. They were sacred, they were powerful. Prior to electricity, women ovulated according to their physiological and hormonal response to the amount of light in the sky. Our biological blueprint is to ovulate when there is most light in the night sky during the full moon. So this leads us to bleed with the new moon. Our bodies have a physiological, biological feedback loop that regulates our melatonin production, which influences many things, including the hormones that ripen and release an egg from the ovary. So, with the introduction of electricity and the resulting industrial revolution, pollution, physical stresses of modern life, chemical pollutants, etc., now women ovulate at any time, unless they live together. And so this is, and I will show you next time practices to start syncing yourself with the moon if you are still in your fertile years. So after the time of bleeding, we move on to what is known the follicular phase in your cycle. And this is when the moon, and this we're going to call it the inner spring. So we move from the inner winter towards the inner spring in our bodies. And in the sky, we see now a sliver of light, right? Gradually emerging against the night sky. And this phase symbolizes new beginnings, the planting of seeds, the commencement of the cycle. Now, women's body, we have shed the lining in preparation for a new cycle of fertility. So, both moments represent renewal, right? Transformation, potential for growth. So on this waxing to crescent moon time, we start building energy. This is when we want to start making plans, right? Now all of a sudden we're like, whoa, we awake. We're gonna be fertile very soon. So this follicular time lasts 6 to 10 days, right? And this is of estrogen dominance. Our bleeding stops, and when estrogen rises, estrogen is a hormone, it's an anabolic hormone, right? The agenda of estrogen is to build. In Ayurveda, is brahmana, is to make substances. Estrogen is a sex hormone, and it's very grounding and it's very nourishing. And it's made mainly in the ovaries, but it can also be reproduced and produced in the adrenals. Actually, estrogen is found in every tissue in the body. So during the waxing crescent first quarter phase of the moon, where the illumination increases, there's a kind of like a mirror situation, right, where our light and energy now rise towards ovulation, and this is when we feel this surge of vitality. I want you to start paying attention to these times in your body, because now there's a sense of empowerment, of creative potential, and also there's a lot of resilience to stress. There's our vagal nerve kind of gets more tonified. And so this is a time when the of the journey of maturation of the ovum, right? So now we understood that ideally we want to menstruate with a dark moon, with a new moon. Then we start kind of, energy starts rising with the crescent waxing moon. And then we move towards the period of the full moon, yeah? So after this intense energetic period, we move on to the inner summer in the body. And this is a short period, 3 to 4 days in the women's cycle, where we have estrogen peaks. Now energy is at its height. We feel radiant and gorgeous and sensual and sexual. This is the perfect time to be mostly engaged with the external world, because now we are big, just like the big fat full moon up in the sky. There's a lot of energetic advantages to this time, because it really calls us towards activity, ceremony, new projects, overcoming obstacles, going, using a very external energy. So we want to take advantage of this natural fluctuation. We want to rest during the new moon and then participate in and be externally motivated during the full moon, right? Because now our Shakti, our prana, is at its highest level. And we're moving towards ovulation. And the connection is profound. It's incredible. It's a surge of vitality and of creative potential. The womb is so wise. So we culminate this outward expression, right? We planted the seeds during the follicular phase. And now those seeds planted, this is the opportunity to release many things. If there were intentions, this is the manifestation time. This is the time we assert them loudly. This is the time when we can create life. This is the time where the woman is at her strongest. And it's a short-lived period, because then we move on to the last quarter of the moon, which is the waning phase. And this is releasing and let it go. Now we prepare, and now this is a different train we're on. During the last quarter phase, the moon's light up in the sky gradually diminishes, and it parallels the waning phase of a woman's menstrual cycle again. Hormonal activity decreases. So where we have estrogen rising, this now we're going to be leading towards the release of the uterine lining. So we don't want to have any more estrogen kind of building up. This is a time, 10 to 14 days, and it's called the luteal phase, where we start now again slowly looking back at our inner world. Progesterone rises. Progesterone is such an important hormone, because one of its main purposes is to keep estrogen in check. It's like the police. It keeps it from building too much. So you want progesterone rising right now, because if estrogen keeps building, what happens is, remember I mentioned estrogen's agenda is to build, to prepare for life. It likes to build, it's very nourishing. If we allowed estrogen in the body, and by that I mean some sort of imbalance, more estrogen means you end up with too much uterine lining, which without control means endometriosis, masses, excess bleeding. So, just as the moon releases its light, we release physical and emotional burdens. We let go of what no longer serves us, that typical phrase now. This is a phase where we want to again start emphasizing introspection, cleansing, this Shiva's power of release and transformation. And it's also a very interesting time because we become very bold. This is a lot of creativity too, but it's a creativity and power to speak our truths. This is kind of like a I don't give a fuck time. This is like premenstrual resilience to stress. We see things clearly. We're going towards the dark. And then again, cycle will begin again. We embrace stillness, the dark moon, the new moon, culmination of the lunar cycle. We begin anew. We are going to release the old and welcome the new. And again, we start all over again. So, yeah, it's just incredibly powerful. The moon runs this natural cycle, and so do we. And every month, we have a chance to start anew, to grow to our fullest potential and magic, and then release it, let it go, let ourselves shrink back to darkness, to nothing. Feminine energy is associated with the yin energy, yeah? We are feelers, receivers. We surrender, we go with ease, with flow. We represent the soft, the cool, the dark energies that allow us to flow with these cycles. Masculine energy is associated with young, right? With doing, thinking, action, effort. Not that we don't think, which is a very different type of thinking. Forward motion, right? Masculine is the heart, the hot, the fiery energies that allows us to push forward, to persevere, to create too. The entire universe needs this balance of masculine and feminine energies. We have both energies inside of us in one side of our brains, and we need it to thrive in harmony. However, we live in a very masculine society that for thousands of years has valued masculine energies over feminine energies, right? And now we are kind of brainwashed that we believe that success means hard work, pushing, fighting, struggle, overcome obstacles. This too much masculine energy has led us to where we are right now. So much violence and aggression and destruction of the planet. And for us in our day to day, so much burnout, so much anxiety, so much stress. And that results in all these health problems. So, working with the moon is one incredible way to restore that energetic balance, that feminine balance. Whether you're still fertile or in your menopausal years, whether you have a uterus and ovaries or not, doesn't matter. Working in harmony with the cycles of nature needs to happen at any age, at any transition in our lives. And it will foster greater connection to the divine feminine, allow your life to naturally flow the way it should, downstream with ease. This is how you start taking your power back.